I never got away from what I actually wanted to do. You know, I wanted to help people, and then it turned into I want to create opportunities for the ones that are around me, the ones that support me, the ones that are in the trenches with me every day. And in order to do that, you have to scale. And so how do you scale? You can't scale from behind the chair. You have to come from behind that chair. I can remember when I met Bob Johnson, and he had on a nice suit, tailored, like to the nine. I looked at his shoes and I was like, man, he really must like these shoes, because his shoes kind of didn't go with the suit. But it showed me that no matter how much money you got, none of that really mattered. He was just talking about, man, being professional, taking care of your team, taking care of people that work for you. That's what inspired me. It never was the artistry of cutting hair. I'm like, oh, okay, if I learn how to do this, you mean I can go do all this other stuff? Sign me up.
There's the famous story when Hillary Clinton is on The Breakfast Club and she mentions Shaun Corbett and she talks about cops and barbers.
Cops and barbers just really started in the nature of wanting to do good. Growing up in New York City Housing Authority, you had Housing Authority Police Department, right? And these guys would come shoot basketball with us. They would, like, that's what I remember as a kid. When did we get away from knowing who you policing, like knowing the family, knowing, you know, you can go to Miss Mary and get your fade together, or go to Miss Jenkins and get a plate? Like, when did that change? Went to the barbershop and just start asking people, like, hey man, what you do when you get pulled over? And some of the answers I was getting, I'm like, oh, I don't know the right way, but I know that is not the right answer. And so that we knew we had something there. I like to say I've learned how to scale the unscalable business.
Okay.
Barbering is an art. And when you deal with artists move on feeling. I feel like doing this. I feel like coming to work. I feel like not coming to work. I feel like cutting it there. I don't feel. It's feeling. So you have to create and derive a culture based on that. They have to be able to dwell in that space, right? So you can't have a heavy corporate culture with a bunch of artists. It won't work. So finding that happy medium can be difficult.
Charlotte is averaging 157 people a day moving here.
Man, I love it. I like to tell my team I make a living off of doing what people say I can't do. The growth of Charlotte and the influx of transplants and people coming from other places with different mindsets and different ideas and things like that opens up the market for a person like me that loves to push the envelope. Charlotte's home to me. You know what I'm saying? I buried my mom here, so it will always be home. So I love that I'm able to grow Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever want to outgrow Charlotte.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. J Hill, back with another episode of the Power Mixer Podcast. And let me tell you, man, I got my guy, friend, my homie, my brother, and I would say mentor as well, Shaun Lucky Corbett, in the building with us today. Shaun, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, my boy? What's good with you?
Man, I appreciate you coming today, man. I said, you know what? I'm going to read a little bit of your bio. Everybody else, I just freestyle, but I wanted to do this and pay a homage to you a little bit. So established in February of 2011, Lucky Spot Barbershop prides itself on being a family-oriented and community-driven barbershop. Since 2011, the barbershop hosts annual community events such as Back to School Weekend, Community Turkey Drive, Community Tutoring, and has been able to support over 12,000 families with their events. Each of the community events are free and open to all that are able to attend. Lucky Spot Barbershop is owned and operated by Shaun Lucky Corbett. And in 2019, the barbershop became part of history, opened the first African-American owned and operated barbershop in Walmart nationally. And then also, of course, the Lucky Spot Leadership and Barber Academy is your pride and joy as well. And I just want to thank you, brother. You know, I got to tell people a quick story. So when, you know, your boy, I've been out here on these streets in Charlotte and in Atlanta for a long time and grinding and everything. But, man, around 2024, you know, things started heating up for your boy. And, man, I said, I'm going to be honest, the Holy Spirit said, go talk to Lucky. And so I was obedient, and you was gracious because I reached out to my sister, Dana Sidberry. Shout out to Dana. And I said, yo, I need to talk to Lucky. And she's like, well, I don't want you. I said, no, I need to talk to him. And she's like, all right, cool. And so, man, I came and sat down with you, and I asked you all my questions about making it here in Charlotte and success. And man, you poured into me. And I've told my wife this, and I've told my brother Orlandis Gilmore. I said every single thing that Lucky said was gonna happen happened, and everything he told me to do, I did, and I I dodged some stuff. And so, man, first, before we even do anything, I want to say thank you, brother, for taking the time and pouring into me. And I really, really appreciate it. And it saved me so much time and money and stress. And I appreciate you, bro.
Man, no problem, man. We go further together.
Yeah.
You know, anytime that anyone comes and asks me for mentorship, you know, I'm all for it, because at some point, you know, still to this day, you know, I have people that I ask questions to. I would like a lot more people that I'm connected to, but we're working on that. You know, I think we're gonna have to be the generation that kind of is really focused on giving back and things like that. Because sometimes you see they get to a certain level and you can't connect with them, or that you don't have access to them anymore. You see that a lot. But you know, when you came to me, I'm like, two people that I really value their opinions vouch for you. They was like, oh yeah, nah, he good. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever you need, man. So I just think that just as black men in the city of Charlotte doing business, you know, we go further together. So I'm a firm believer in that.
No, so you know, I hit you yesterday, or you hit me like, yo, what we talking about? And I was like, nah, let's freestyle this thing. But you know, some of these things are things that I wanted to talk to you about for a while. Like, you and I have had several conversations. So let's set the stage a little bit. First, you know, you were a panelist at the Power Mixer. It was the second Power Mixer, and it was called Doing Business in Charlotte. And so one of the reasons I reached out to you was because, you know, you're like me. Like, you had a business, one business in Charlotte, right? And you know, I'd like to say you got it out of the mud. Like, you really, like, you grinded, built that your business, and then it popped as well. So now you have 10 locations in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
Yes.
And all of these are in Walmart, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I was like, there ain't a lot of people that I can talk to that can talk about, that's number one, that's black, that can talk about, hey, I started a business and I grew it across multiple states. So that was one of the first reasons I wanted to reach out to you. The other thing too is that there's not a lot of people in Charlotte that's had that light shined on them real, real bright, and can talk about how it feels to be in that moment and go through that in Charlotte. So that was another reason I wanted you to talk about how you can be successful in Charlotte when it comes to business. And so I want to walk through your story a little bit. So tell me about, of course, you started at No Grease as far as you went through their school and everything, but I want to skip ahead to when you started to open up your own business. Tell me what that was like when you started here in Charlotte.
Well, when I got out of barber school, I went to work at the shop that I ended up buying, and it was your typical barbershop, man. A lot of stuff that's, you know, unregulated, whatever goes. And I was in the transitional stage of my life, so I didn't want to be around any of that. And so I used to go talk to Jermaine, one of the twins. I'd be like, yo, man, this ain't what I thought it was going to be. And he like, nah, just hold up. He was like, you're going to run everybody out of there. Just keep doing what you know. And I think everyone knew from the very beginning, even when I was in barber school, that I wanted something different in my life. I was coming from one extreme, trying to get to the other side. And that was just my mission. And I wouldn't allow anyone to get in front of that. And so when I ended up working at this location, as time progressed, you know, people went to jail and whatever. The owner got in a position to where he had to sell the shop. And I stayed down. I had my money saved up, and I made the purchase. And I think everything that was going on in that shop prior was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do when I bought the shop. So that was my blueprint. Just whatever they was doing, I'm going to do the opposite. And giving back and all of that stuff was just always in me. I can remember when Hurricane Katrina came. Right? And me and my wife were dating. My now wife, we were dating. And we went to go volunteer at the old Coliseum, and my wife, based on her credentials or whatever it may be, she was able to work like in the with the people,
Yeah.
and because they kind of run your background and all that other stuff. When they ran my background, I had to be outside on the truck. Like, I had to be outside on the truck, which was cool, right?
Yeah.
It was cool, but I can remember that moment, and it was just like, yo, my background even alters me helping people. And I was just like, I don't just want to be in that position, right? And this is even before barber school.
Yeah.
And so giving back has always been a part of just who I am. If I see a need, we jumping in, we gonna figure it out. Like, you know, I'm the type, like, if I see you pulled over, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna try to help you.
Yeah.
Like, I've always just been like that.
Yeah.
So once I got the opportunity to open the business, it gave me a bigger platform to do things on a higher level. You know, like our first event, we used to go to the Center of Hope. What was that, Spratt Street?
Yeah.
And cut hair for free on Mondays.
Yeah.
We used to do that. My first book bag drive giveaway was there. So we always just kind of been about that, and it just kind of evolved, you know.
So when you talked about being in that first barbershop, coming out of barber school, and you said the stuff that you were doing, you were like, Jermaine, shout out to No Grease Twins,
my boys,
Dame and
OGs,
Jermaine.
yes.
Like, what were you doing? You said the stuff that you were doing is going to run people out of there. Like, what were you doing?
I was really focused on just the business of barbering. I think me and you have shared this story so many times. Like, I never wanted to be a barber. All the fly stuff that I've done through barbering, I never wanted to be a barber.
You like Hove, I never wanted to be a rapper.
I'm telling you, I never wanted to. I literally filled out for barber school trying to inspire one of my friends that wanted to be a barber. And just so happened I got called and he didn't. Like,
wow.
And so when we went to I went to barber school at a unique time. I know you want to skip, but this is a very important part. When I went to barber school, as you know, I went to No Grease. It was a very unique time.
Yeah.
I got to meet Bob Johnson. Like man, this was almost 20 years ago. That's still a highlight.
Yes.
To me, I got to meet Bob Johnson, and No Grease was at a unique crossroads of their business. They were building the arena location. You know, they were kind of transitioning into the malls. So it was a very unique, it was a very business heavy time at the school. And I knew that I used to watch all the time people try to get in the business conversations, but they didn't have their haircut game together. And they would be like, "No, you gotta go do this." So I would see that, and I was like, "Okay, let me learn how to fade. Let me get my line together. Let me learn how to use this razor." So when I come try to sit over here, they ain't sending me back over there, and I just figured that out.
So I want to make sure people capture this. So you're in school, Damian and Jermaine.
Every day.
There's opportunities. Like, this is a hub. So all of these things and conversations are happening. But to even have that kind of cloth talk, you had your cut game had to be on point.
Absolutely.
Before you could even get over here and have a conversation.
How you gonna talk about opening a shop you can't cut? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was just that type of mentality. Like, everybody that I went to school with either owns or runs a barbershop from that class.
Wow.
Class of 06, the best class. I'm just like, no, it was like it was like business gladiator school.
Wow.
You know,
so why do you say that?
Because they were in the trenches still. They're not the No Grease that people see now. Right? You know, they were still cutting hair, and you know, they were in the trenches. I can remember when I met Bob Johnson. I was probably more fanned out than anything, because this is Mr. BT. Video Soul. Rap City. Like, so I'm like, this Bob Johnson. Everybody else like, kind of like, who? I'm like, yo, this is Bob, like, this is Mr. BT. And I never forget it. I looked at his shoes, and he had on a nice suit, tailored, like, to the nine. And I looked at his shoes, and I was like, man, he really must like these shoes, because his shoes kind of didn't go with the suit. But it showed me that no matter how much money you got, none of that really mattered. Like, it didn't matter. And the stuff that he just talked about, it wasn't like a like how we like to say now, TED Talks or anything.
Yeah.
He was just talking about, man, being professional, taking care of your team, taking care of the people that work for you.
Yeah.
Just basic stuff.
Yeah.
But this is a billionaire guy
Yeah.
that's sitting here, that's spending time with us. And I got to experience that through barbering. Right? And so then we watched them build the arena. We watched them do all of these things. And that's what inspired me.
Wow.
It never was the artistry of cutting hair. It just, I was able to get exposed to the stuff that I was able to do just from cutting hair. That's the thing that gassed me. I'm like, oh, okay, if I learn how to do this, you mean I can go do all this other stuff? Sign me up. And that was the kind of the thing for me.
So did you ever get, so your excellence as a barber was, it sounds like, was fueled by all these other things. Was there ever a time where you felt like I fell in love with being a barber, or like you just like, hey, this is just a means to an end? Like I'm trying to understand how you feel about barbering itself compared to the lifestyle and the business person that you are now.
I fell in love with the barber industry.
Gotcha.
Not the art of barbering. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect
sense. The industry itself, what it stood for, what it represents, that's what I fell in love with. Like, I didn't grow up with my father. So I learned a lot of stuff about being a father and being a man as a barber. Like, I learned basic stuff watching men come to the shops on Saturday with their kids. Yeah. So I learned a lot. And I think that's what I fell in love with. Yeah. The actual cutting hair part, like I said, that was just the vehicle for, like, that's just the vehicle for our conversation, or that's the vehicle for whatever is behind it. And I just knew that, okay, in order to operate at a high level, I would have to be good at it.
Yeah. So I do want to ask you something. So, like, and there's not a lot of people I can talk to about this. So, like, for me, I'm from Charlotte. I remember when, like, so I basically, my son is 14 now. He's going to the same barbershop that I went to from 8th grade till I lost hair, basically, and moved to Atlanta, right? And so there was the culture in the barbershop. People always talk about the barbershop, but I remember in Charlotte where, like, there were, like, legendary folks that were barbers. Like, they were popular. Everybody knew them. I remember when, you know, we would have to shout out to Miss Mary at Reed's Barbershop on West Boulevard. So, like, I remember, like, waiting outside. It would be, like, so packed on a Saturday where you had to take a number and wait outside or whatever. Like, there was just, like, barbering was a big deal. And then I remember when, and, like, they were there, like, 5 days a week, like, or 6 days a week, whatever it was, they were there. Or excuse me, Sunday and Monday they were off, and then Tuesday was kind of light, but they were there all the time, and they worked like 9 to 5 or whatever it was, or until every head was cut. I moved to Atlanta in '96. I'm like, where the barber at? It's Thursday, and they don't get in here till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then they work all day on Friday and Saturday. And I was, and prices was twice as much. This is in '96. And so I did want to ask you this: how has the barber industry changed since those days that I'm talking about in the early '90s versus a culture that you are right in the smack middle of it right now? Like, what is the difference, you think?
It's definitely transition. It's all cultural, actually. Okay. The time that you talk about in the early '90s, it was more community driven. Okay. More, you know, the evolution to what you see now, and also that mid to late '90s, early 2000s, all the way to the 2000s, you had the celebrity barber. Yeah. The celebrity. Yeah. You know, what happened was those community figures, you know, they either retired or the younger version came up. And those guys became celebrities. You know, they hanging with the rappers, they you know, and so culturally that just creates a shift. Right? You know, it's not a bad thing, right? It's just, you know, you see the celebrity mindset, you know, and then with the birth of social media and things like that, people actually have access to show their lives to millions of people. And so that creates a mindset of, it's not necessarily about the cut, it's about the view, or it's about the light. And now you're also seeing another shift to the resurgence of professionalism in the industry. Yeah. So it's just all kind of cycling around.
Yeah, and you talked about community. there's so much more individualism when it comes to a barber now. It's about their personal brand. It's about, like, people flying all over the place or going to different places to cut hair. But back then it was about the shop. Like, what barbershop do you go to? I go to Reeves Barbershop. I go to Big Daddy Smooth Cuts. I go, you know what I mean? It was like, this is where I go get my hair cut, and that shop was popular. Now, if you, like, I remember there was times where like multiple barbers were great in one location or whatever, as opposed to just one. Do you feel like the individualism has messed up the industry at all? Like right now, people, and we ain't even getting into the $100 haircuts and all that yet, but.
I think I'm not gonna go as far as say messed up.
Okay.
I think it just adds another layer.
Okay.
Right, but the thing about it is you cannot remove the people from the business. The people are the business.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is that what happens is that the individualism causes the separation, right? If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But there's still an element of, like you say, the shop. See, like what we do at Lucky Spot, we focus on the shop. Like, it's the shop. Like, I can remember we in our quarterly meetings, I used to post. I used to have something called the 1,000 Club and the 500 Club. Okay. What that means is I would list any barber that either did over 500 services in that quarter or 1,000, right? And I stopped doing it. And I was explaining to my team, I was like, I'm not doing it anymore because I'm starting to see the same people on the list. Right? Yeah. So my thing, and a lot of them was I leaked my leads. Yeah. Right? So it's like, now I just recognize locations. Top 5, 10 locations. Yeah. Right? And that's bringing back that essence. Because like you said, the barber shop was the place. Yeah. Where you go get your hair cut at. And then who the barber in there. Yeah. But like you say, the individualism, it's not messing it up. It's just adding an extra layer. Gotcha. That's how I look at it. It's just adding an extra layer to it.
Gotcha. All right, so let's get back ahead. All right, so you buy a barbershop. What is your mindset as far as, all right, I know you said like what was going on before. I'm going totally opposite. How did you consciously think about what you wanted your culture to be for your barbershop at that, when you opened up your spot? Like, what did you want your culture to be?
When I opened this shop, I had no idea what my culture, like, I didn't even know anything about any of that, right? I just wanted to stay open. Gotcha. That was it. Like, now you talk to me almost 15 years later, well polished and, talking about, the culture and things like that, right? But in the very beginning, I didn't know anything about any of that. You have to remember, I didn't even grow up in a family, in a household that had business owners and things like that. So I didn't, the only people that I had at that time were the twins to go check back in with. I didn't have a plethora of social capital to tap into. And so I didn't know anything about the culture or anything. It was just, I knew I wanted to do good. I knew that. Like, I just wanted to do good. And I knew I just wanted to stay open. Yeah. How do I bring those two things together? We figure it out. But it wasn't like when I got it, I had the business plan. I had all these things. The culture's going to be, no. I didn't even know what it was going to look like. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that particular location. So, all right. So there's the famous story about, I remember where I kind of was, I don't know if I was just like watching The Breakfast Club or I saw the video on YouTube or whatever, but I remember the moment, I believe it's coming up in 2016 when Hillary Clinton is on The Breakfast Club, and it feels like out of the blue, she mentions Shaun Corbett and the Lucky Spot Barbershop, and she talks about cops and barbers. So, two things. Where were you when you learned of this? And, of course, you got to tell everyone how you started Cops and Barbers. And I know the story, but if you would fill everyone in on that.
I think I was in the shop when I kind of heard about that. Like, somebody told me. Like, it wasn't like a thing, but I get it. We was lit at the time. She knew what she was doing. I get it. I ain't mad at her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Cops and Barbers just really started basically just in the nature of wanting to do good. Okay. My oldest son was 18 at the time. Just got a car. and Michael Brown had just popped off, and me personally, I don't know about others, right? Growing up in New York City Housing Authority, you had Housing Authority Police Department, right? And these guys would come shoot basketball with us. They would that's what I remember as a kid. Now as you grow up, the crack era, things like that, the dynamics change. The turning the police into the military and things like that. That's not, and me and you were probably close to the same age. That's probably not your childhood either. Like it wasn't like they get out the car, they throw the football, they come into the boys club, and a lot of the cops went to school with your uncle and things like that. That's what I remember as a kid. Now my teenage years are something different because the world was different in the 90s. The 90s was a very dangerous place.
Yes.
So I can see the change, but I just felt like with the Michael Brown situation, that police officer worked that neighborhood. And I just felt it was just kind of weird that he didn't know Michael Brown. Like, when did we get away from that? That was my thought. Like, when did we get away from knowing who you police and like knowing the family, knowing, you can go to Miss Mary and get your fade together, or go to Miss Jenkins and get a plate. Like, when did that change, right? And like you say, we bring it back to the 90s, but I always felt like that was an important part. And so, just like anything that I do, the barbershop is my sounding board. And in that process, like I said, my son was 18, just got a new car. And up until that moment, my outlook on dealing with police was I stay out their way, they stay out mine. They stay over there. I said, just like any other black man, y'all over there, we over here. But I knew that it was very easy, or it was very likely that my son could get pulled over on a Friday night coming from a football game. And does he know what to do? And so went to the barbershop and just start asking people, like, hey, man, what you do when you get pulled over? And some of the answers I was getting, I'm like, oh, I don't know the right way, but I know that is not the right answer. And so that we knew we had something there, and that's kind of how.
So I want to tell you something real quick. So like that era the Michael Brown situation, I remember it like yesterday. I was working shout out to my big brother, attorney Ken Harris. I was working out of his office, and the Michael Brown gets shot and killed in St. Louis. He and I, like, we're having arguments in the office about the situation, how it should have went or whatever, right? And what comes out of that is a whole campaign about just get home, like, comply and all this kind of stuff. And then of course people have opinions about black people having to do that. But I remember like in that same like month or two, is all the hysteria is going on. My son, your son 18, mine is 3 or 4. Random, we go see my parents on West Boulevard every weekend. Saturday, we driving, and there's the Western Remount intersection, right? And so I'm coming down West Boulevard. I remember I'm on the left is what used to be called Sandhurst Apartments, and it's right there by the Mr. Jim's and all of that pizza. And there's a cop right there, and for whatever, we like lock eyes a little bit. And so I'm driving, but I'm on the far right lane, and so I look at him and I keep going. Now, my parents live across the street they live in Barringer Woods, which is right across from Stratford YMCA. Okay. So I have to get back in the left lane to get ready to turn. He pulls out behind me and gets in the left lane too. And so now there's traffic coming, you know what I mean? And so he pulls up behind me and he looks like he's going to turn as well. And so a car goes by, I turn, he turns his lights on. And then we pull up. And I'll make this story short. He comes out. It looks like he had another cop with him. And I remember, giving them all of my information. I would remember telling my wife, like, ask first if you can reach for everything. And I remember my son, man, at 4 years old saying, Daddy, why can't we go? Like, why can't we leave? You know what I mean? Like, it was such a crazy time. So I thought about that moment with my son. And like, man, I don't feel like this is right. And so to hear you tell your story about how you were trying to protect your son, like I had to teach my 4-year-old son a lesson that day about, hey, you can't just leave when the police pull you over.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, man, I tell people all the time, I did all the cops and barber stuff and travel the country with that and all that. I'm still a black man in America.
Mm-hmm.
I still get nervous when I get pulled over.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just it's just that thing.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, it's
Yeah.
just that thing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I get what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. But that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
Just wanting to make sure. It started with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that my community, we lack the knowledge of certain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just simple things, like when you get pulled over, roll all your windows down.
Yeah.
It seems simple.
Yeah.
Roll all your windows down and turn your light on
Yep.
in the car.
Yep.
Right? Now, you might say, well, why? But when you really think about it, outside of your personal, yeah, I want you to see everything in here, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I want you to see that. For me, like,
Yeah.
it ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
For me, I want you to see what I got going on.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So there's no confusion,
Yeah.
right? But you still got cops that don't need to be cops.
Yeah.
We go through that. So.
Yeah. So all right. So you're in the barbershop. You've been doing two things I want to make sure I touch on. The moment when you hear you hear about or you see that Hillary Clinton shouted you out on the Breakfast Club, and then like how did you feel in that moment? I know, you were lit at that time, but like then tell me like when did you feel like, okay, it's getting bonkers right now? It's heavy with the request and the traveling based on that moment. So inflection point, how did you feel in that moment? Then show me the after effects, like everything hit.
Well, honestly, meeting Hillary Clinton was probably more fun than the mention of the Breakfast Club.
Okay,
because
tell me about that.
It came after that.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton was campaigning, and she met with several community leaders. Like, it was like me, No Limit, Dennis Reed. It was a couple of guys.
Yeah.
Like, it was a nice group of us, and we met at Mertz.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember, man, like, I was like, she down to earth. She talking about peach cobbler. Like, no, but like, she wasn't faking it.
Yeah,
And then I had to remember she from Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, but like, she was really, just kind of down to earth in that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I can really remember is how they shut down College Street. It was kind of like the I'm Legend. Like, it was only just people on the corner with like, it was completely empty.
Yeah.
And we had to park. I had to park so far and walk.
Wow.
But like, I can remember just kind of how cool she was and down to earth.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that she really was listening. Mm-hmm. Because it was a lot of conversation going on. Mm-hmm. So for her to remember some of the stuff that we talked about was a dope thing for me. I was more impressed than that. And I think Dana and the rest of them was probably more hype about the mention at the Breakfast Club. And, I probably gave the most resistance out of the whole team. Mm-hmm. Like,
Resistance in what way?
Leaving the shop and stuff like that, like,
because like, you like, man, I got
I got bills, I got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I say, I was still more wrapped up in the community. Yeah. I wanted to be there for my clients. Yeah, I was never even the barber that wanted to cut the celebrities and chase behind the celebrities. Mm-hmm. I wanted the guy that's gonna pay me $40-$50 every week. Yeah, and hear about his son's football games and all that. Like, I was that barber.
How did you kind of deal with that? Was Dana pushing you? Shout out to Dana Sidbear.
Yeah.
Sidbear, that's my sister. So like, how did you kind of deal with that? All right, now these demands for me to go travel and do all of these amazing things. I think I heard you say you spoke at Harvard one time.
No, not Harvard. A couple of a couple of colleges, but at the Super Bowl.
So like, when did you kind of just like accept it? Like, okay, I'm gonna move around. And how did you deal with that? Like, managing your clients. Like, help me through that period of your life.
I fought it tooth and nail the whole way. I don't think I ever accepted it.
Really?
Yeah, like, because I didn't do it for that. Mm-hmm. So it was always difficult for me to kind of get into that space. Mm-hmm. Right? It just became a part of the. Now, of course, I got better at it. Right? Yeah. But I never had a problem public speaking. Believe it or not, I'm actually shy. The public speaking part comes from being a barber. Mm-hmm. I public speak every day in a room full of people. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't really bother me. Yeah. So, but the the getting shopped around and moving around and try like that was difficult for me. Yeah. And I never really got used to it because that wasn't my goal.
Is that because you feel like that when you talk that way, when you talk about moved around, shopped around, like as a publicist and me knowing Dana, I feel like that's just how your client, you scheduling opportunities for them. I see the benefit of the business and the brand and all that comes with that effort. You're saying, is that just you? Like, you like, yo, I ain't with all of that. I'm not comfortable there. I understand it, but that's just not my thing. Like, how do you look at that?
Well, I like I said, I didn't do it for that. Mm-hmm. Now, there's been times where I've done certain things for that outcome. Yeah. And then when that's the outcome that I'm going for, I have no problem doing it because it's just a part of the game. Yeah. But I had to actually adjust my mind to understand that it's just a part of the job. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, moving around, opportunities, they want you over here, they want you over here, they want you to do an interview here, they want you to come speak at this school, they want you to come talk to this class. It's like, I get it, but I didn't do all of that for that.
Real talk, that was one of the things I think you and I tapped on when I came to come sit with you. I was like, and talk to you, like, how do you balance all of these opportunities and moving around, running around, and all of these requests versus taking care of your business and working, right? Mm. And so how did you decide to balance that, through that process, or how did you balance that?
One of the most important decisions I ever made in business, understanding the power of empowering others. Mm. Once I got to that, I used to be the one to do everything. I got it, like I was that. Yeah. But I didn't really know any better, right? Because when you usually think of the barbershop, you got the owner in there cutting with everybody else. Yeah. And once I kind of got from behind the chair and understood the importance of empowering the others around me, and that was a struggle. Like, that wasn't like woke up one day, oh yeah, nah. That was a real struggle. That was a journey within itself. But my intentions were always pure. I never got away from what I actually wanted to do. Yeah. I wanted to help people, and then it turns into I want to create opportunities for the ones that are around me, the ones that support me, the ones that are in the trenches with me every day. Yeah. And in order to do that, you have to scale. Yeah. And so how do you scale? You can't scale from behind the chair. You have to come from behind that chair. And you start creating compartments for certain things. Yeah. Okay, the public speaking it fuels this. So just learning those lessons. Yeah, no, I know. When we talk through a lot of that stuff, for me, sometimes it's frustrating because you want to do more, you want to be out and do some of these things, but if the business is not right, if the business is not working, some of this is not going to happen. And some of these things won't make sense if the business is not correct. All right, so one more thing on this and then we can move on. So in your mind, and from your vantage point, what was the thing where you like, okay, nah, this is cool? Like, through the whole running around, all the stuff you did all around the country, doing that era of cops and barbers, which is still going strong today. What was one of the things where you like, man, that was one of the cool moments besides the Hillary Clinton meeting? Going to the White House.
Tell me about that.
Cops and barbers got added to President Obama's 21st century policing. Going to the White House itself. Yeah. It wasn't a tourist experience, but I think it was still cool to be a convicted felon and be sitting around speaking in front of the Attorney General and other police chiefs and things like that. Like, they're asking you questions on how can we better serve our communities and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, I thought that was a cool thing for us being in that space. Yeah. Now, the actual day itself was work. Like, they worked the hell out of us. Like, it was very structured. Yeah. From 3:15 to 3:45, you're in room 207 talking to this group about this. And then from 4:15 to over here, and they fed us boxed lunches, bro. Oh, that was one of them. I was like, I would think we would at least get like some kind of buffet, some spread. This the White House. Yeah. Man, we had boxed lunches. I would never forget that. Yeah. Yeah.
Did that empower you? Did that change you, that moment? Like, knowing where you came from and like being in that moment, did it change anything inside of you as far as like how you operated since that moment?
Nah, I think I stayed in the moment, and I knew that I was obligated to tell the truth. Right? Sometimes people can get on them stages and them lights can get in your eyes, and you forget what you supposed to be doing. And I think the fact that I came in the door with my own business. I came in the door with cash flow, like my own cash flow. I didn't have to do certain things, right? Or have to dumb down what the message was. So I was able to still talk that talk. You know, and I think that just staying in the moment was the thing that allowed me not to change. Right? Like, it was, okay, this is the moment. Just like Hillary Clinton, this is a moment. But you here for a reason. Stay in that moment. Don't get caught up in I took a picture with Hillary Clinton, or I'm here with Attorney General, or I'm here with this person, that person, this mayor, this city, or whatever. Nah, this need to be said because this is what's going on, and this is how we need to kind of look at this stuff. And so I think that allowed it to not change me. You know, just being able to be in that moment.
Which is, I'm not going to, like, for some people that's tough because a couple things happen. Like, you can get addicted to being on TV, being in interviews, like, ain't nobody called to interview me this much. Like you can get addicted to that, and also you cannot recognize the moment. You can be so, like, it can be such a blur that you don't recognize the moment that you're in. And then the other thing that stands out, and I know this is one of the things that you taught me, is like it's a different feeling, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, it's a different feeling when you feel like no matter what happens, I got my business. No one is controlling me. No one is like, I don't have to do anything because I took this bread, or I do, you know what I mean? Like, I'm self-contained. I'm self-supported in the way that I'm doing business. And so it doesn't compromise or even have any inkling of compromising what I'm doing. Can you talk about how important that is to you?
It's very important, but it goes hand in hand with me. It goes hand in hand with me being who I say I am. Like, I'm really from the soil. Like you said in the intro, I got it from the mud. Like, I'm from the soil. So when I walk into one of these barbershops, like, or I walk into that Wilkinson location and people, hey, Lucky, what's up, man? Like, that's more valuable to me than speaking on a stage in front of 2,000 people. Or, you know, we get a phone call from someone from the community, her son getting in trouble, and they want me to talk to him. Or they, you know, or we look at our DMs and it's flooded with people thanking us for going to do free haircuts. Like, those are the things that are the most important for me than anything, right? And that's what drives the business itself, being connected to the community. So I never, ever wanted to be in a position to compromise that. So it's like, I don't gotta do it. Like, what? That don't make no sense. Like, nah. Like, I'll say no in a minute. Like, it's just to you. You my man. No, you my man. So when it comes to like, oh, what do you need me to do? Cool, no problem. But no, I'll say no in a minute because y'all not gonna leave me holding the bag in front of my folk. You know, and they like, nah, this ain't you. Like, nah, they know what to expect. What Denzel saying, American Gangster, I stand by it. I guarantee it. Like, nah, we from the soil over here at Lucky Spot. We don't do none of that. We gonna get the job done, and we will play by the rules. But we got our own trailer. We come with our own tour bus. Like, and that's very important. You know, like when you need them to fly you out and all that, like that changes the dynamics of all of that. We got our own tour bus.
You gotta ask when you can go home.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they send you a one way. You know what I'm saying? We come with our own tour bus, so we're able to negotiate and have different conversations in that space.
I'm sorry, I got to dig into that a little bit. How important? Let me say this differently. I think that is important as a businessman. Meaning, like, I saw, shout out again to Attorney Ken Harris. I saw Attorney Ken Harris when he wanted to go do business. He cut the check to pay for hotel rooms, for flights, to eat, to do all of these things, to show up as a business person that, hey, I have my things together, and it's a different positioning that you put yourself in, as opposed to you're needing to be these things taken care of for you. And I've learned that, like, it's just a different way of doing business. Have you? I want you to expound on that just a little bit, like how important that is to position yourself in that way from a business perspective.
In my opinion, I feel like in certain situations, that's depending on what's going on. When you're not relying on certain things from the other party, it allows you to have equity talks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but if y'all burning the budget up on plane tickets and meal stipends and stuff like that, like yeah. you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the 52 fake out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nah, we don't need all that.
Yeah.
We good on that.
Yeah.
Like, we need this, or
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It just to me, I look at it as it's another bargaining chip.
Yeah.
You know, that a lot of people don't have the luxury to throw on the table.
Yeah.
You know, like, nah, I get myself out there. I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So and I think that depending on who you dealing business with, they can respect it. Mm-hmm. But it's also another side of that coin. You know, it can be intimidating.
Yes.
And you got to be able to stand in that.
Yes. You
got to be able to stand in knowing you ruffling feathers.
Yeah.
And be cool with that.
Yeah. Everybody ain't happy when you don't take their money either.
Yeah. You got to be cool. You got to be cool with it. You got to be cool with that thing too.
And that's one.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, let's talk about doing business in Charlotte. So, walk me through. Well, let me start here. What do you think it takes to be successful in doing business in Charlotte? And if so, and whatever that is, has it changed since you've been in business here?
Honestly, man, it takes cojones.
Really?
Yes. To be an entrepreneur in Charlotte.
Why? Why do you say that?
It has to be a level of insanity and delusion.
I believe that for sure.
Yes.
I'm with you.
And you have to have, I say cojones, like you have to have the moxie to step out on faith.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because Charlotte is a wonderful city, and I've watched it grow for decades now.
Yeah.
But it is necessarily not entrepreneurial friendly.
Okay.
It's a banking city. Mm-hmm. It's structured on commerce. Mm-hmm. Things moving, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just structured a certain way. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with it, but Charlotte was built on banking.
Yeah. Banking
is not entrepreneurship.
That's right.
Right?
And they are risk adverse.
Yeah, like, so when you're talking about anything from getting business loans to think, like, it's not structured for that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that going to take your money. A lot of that going to take you stepping out on faith. Like those things, because you're really going to have to get it out. You're going to have to get it out the mud. You're going to have to. You know, and you're an entrepreneur. You know how it goes. Yeah. It's like, you know, what our city's built on, as entrepreneurs, you don't have that support, right? Banking don't. You know, they're more into nonprofits and putting money in certain places and things like that, but they're not into the funding of nonprofits. Excuse me. They're not into the funding of small businesses and stuff. Yeah. Like, that's just not their cup of tea. That's just not, and there's nothing wrong with it, because I didn't do loans and I didn't do all of that. Yeah. And I think we turned out fine. Yeah. So, but you have to understand what you're getting into. You know, don't come up and say you want a business and don't have a business plan and go fill out for a loan and don't get it and then you stop. That's where the delusion and all of that kick in. Like, okay, I got to figure out, I might have to sell water on the side of the street to get the money to get this and get that, to buy my first printing machine or whatever. Like, you have to understand that, you know, it's going to be a level of work. It's going to be a level of long nights and sleepless nights and all of that, but you still got to show up every day. That's the insanity in it. Yeah. Doing the same thing every day, looking for different results. You got to show up every day when the money not there. You got to continue. Like, I think those are the essentials to being an entrepreneur in Charlotte.
Gotcha. So can you walk me through the moment where you said, hey, all right, like, did you always know you wanted to have, like, multiple locations outside of Charlotte, or just kind of walk me through that expansion?
I was once told, in order to be a great leader, first you must be an excellent follower, right? And so, looking at the twins, And what they're doing, the twins and Charlie, what they doing over there at No Grace, it just let me know it was possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you go from just wanting to go to barber school to get off the street. Like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to spend my life in prison. I don't want to be going back and forth to jail.
Yeah.
And then you get over here and they do something different. You're like, oh, okay. You know, now you going to school just because you know all your friends are somewhere doing X, Y, and Z all day. So you're going to school just to see something different.
Yeah.
So as you're going to school to see something different, you're learning something different. And that's being wise enough to stay tapped into that source. Because sometimes you can have a level of success and forget where you come from or forget who turned the lights on for you. And so being able to tap into that, it's just like, I'm on what they on.
Yeah.
Oh, because at the end of the day, you know, there's always going to be a level of friendly competition. We in the same business, but it's no different than Michael Jordan and Kobe, right? You know, it's like Mike did this so Kobe can do this. Just like Dr. J did that for Mike to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think we get so caught up in the individualism of what we doing, and we forget that, somebody turned the lights on for you.
Yeah.
Somebody opened up the gym for you to get your shots up. And so I think, like you say, did I ever imagine it? Nah, it was just like, okay, you know, these are the first group of positive black men that I've ever encountered. I'm gonna stay connected to that.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like, oh, okay, we doing this. Like, me and Jermaine, we laugh and joke all the time. He be like, Lucky, man, you do not have a break. Like, you don't, like, everything's all gas. But I'm like, but it's like, okay, what y'all did in 20 years, I did in 10. Right? Because it's just like, y'all paved the way.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of potholes.
The answers are here.
Yeah. Like, and so a lot of times we don't like to tap in. We don't want to. It takes a strong man to admit what he doesn't know. Right? And it's just like, hey, man, how you do that or whatever. Like, we think that it makes you weak. You know, and so just getting the information. And so it was never when I was in barber school, I had 50 shots. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, you know, I just want to do something. It turned into I want to do something different. Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, okay. And then it's just like in the levels of leadership. In the John Maxwell book, you know, you get to a point where you're in duplication. That's where the multiple shops come in, because it allows me to create more opportunities for other people. There's more leads, there's more receptionists, there's more seats to hire more barbers. That's more young men that ain't on the street. That's more young men that don't have to rob and steal and sell drugs. Like, it turned into that.
Into a mission.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, the more shops we got, the more people we can put in here that don't have to go to a life of crime or do something, you know, that's going to risk their freedom or their life to take care of their family. And they turned in that,
giving them another option.
Yeah, because, like, I know for me, in the 90s, I was outside. Yeah. And everybody just had a sermon for me. And I'm not talking about, like, a church sermon, just don't do this. Yeah. But it was never, don't do this, but do this. Yeah. Now I have hey, don't do this, little homie, but here, come here, I got this for you. Yeah. And so that became the most important thing.
Yeah, I heard that a long time. Well, not a long time ago, but long enough ago, where it's like you can't talk to a street dude or anybody that's in the street or doing whatever without giving. Like, you can't try to tell them something without giving them another option or a solution. Like, they're like, I already don't know. This is the only thing I know. So, like, you telling me to stop? Like, why would I? So, all right, moving along. You said at the Power Mixer, you know, I was asking if you had, you know, what you wanted to see differently in Charlotte. And you said, you know, you want people to do what they say that they're going to do. Can you explain, like, as far as Charlotte is concerned, why did you say that?
Well, I think it's not just even when Charlotte's concerned. I live by that. Yeah. I'm throwback. Yeah. I am a throwback dude. You had to be who you say you were. Yeah. I come from an era where you couldn't go around certain people or certain parts of places if you was not who you say you was. If your word was not your bond, you couldn't come outside. And I'm just evolved from that, but those principles still remain the same. Right? Like, you don't have to tell me that me and you gonna get together and do lunch if that's not your intention. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. But people operate in that space. I don't know if it's a new thing or whatever. And so I think that that's understanding the value of your word. That's what I mean by that, right? Because meeting with someone, you might look at it as you're in your corporate office or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's just a meeting. But that can be the access to the change of someone's life. So you don't take those things lightly, right? I would rather me personally, I would rather say, well, hey, Jelani, I can't make it. Yeah. As in, yeah, we're gonna get together, That person is really looking forward to getting together. And so, or getting in the position where you talk too much and start making promises you can't keep. Yeah. Right? When you really not the decision maker. Like, you can't, for me, I'm a decision maker. It stopped with me. Like, I green and red light. Like, that's me. So you don't have to tell me I can do X, Y, and Z when you know you still gotta go ask somebody. That's cool, right? Yeah. But just say, hey, let me talk to my man. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think we live in a clout era, like of what things appear to be, right? Me, like, I'm just more down to earth. Like, if you can't do it, it's fine. Yeah. If you can, it's great, right? But we got our own tour bus over here. We still moving. So I think that's a big thing, right? And just don't get caught up in the meeting.
You've said several times that you've seen Charlotte grow, and and myself included. So I was going from I lived in Atlanta from 1996 to 2006, but like. So I look at Charlotte from a different lens. So my entire life I've seen this city. What are your thoughts on where Charlotte is heading? What do you feel like this is going to look like in the next 10 to 20 years? And just for the record, Charlotte is averaging 157 people a day moving here. Man,
I love it. Me personally, my personal opinion, originally coming from New York, I'm a city type guy, right? I love the relaxation of Charlotte, but I also love the movement. Like it gotta move. Things can't be too slow for me, right? And so just the growth, I think that it's amazing compared to when I came to Charlotte in the early 90s. Like it's amazing, right? I think that the market for people like myself and other progressive entrepreneurs, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish those things in the early 90s in Charlotte. The mindset was different. I like to tell my team I make a living off of doing what people say I can't do. And the growth of Charlotte and the influx of transplants and people coming from other places with different mindsets and different ideas and things like that opens up the market for a person like me that loves to push the envelope, that loves to, you might close the door, but we coming through the window. Like, like that's just how we operate. There's no such thing as a hard no, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just, okay, we got to have a conversation a different way. And so I think the growth of Charlotte allows me to not necessarily have to centralize my business elsewhere. Right? Because as you spent time in Atlanta, there's other places that are very progressive and very, let's get it going. But I love Charlotte's home to me. You know what I'm saying? I buried my mom here, so it will always be home. So I love that I'm able to grow Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever want to outgrow Charlotte. Wow. Like, I don't ever want to outgrow Charlotte. And so, in certain places in the nation, you can outgrow your city. It can be so stuck in their ways that you gotta go. Right? But I think that Charlotte, and at one point Charlotte was that place. I was
about to say the same
thing. It was
thing.
that place. It was. But now I think that the changing of the guards is happening. It's happening.
You know what? Man, quiet as kept, I feel like that's happening too.
It's happening.
Is that real? Do you feel like that's real?
Yeah, it's happening. It's a process. Let's be clear. Okay. It's not going to be a day and night thing. But if you were in Charlotte 10 years ago, right? And look at Charlotte now. It's changing.
Yeah.
Because just evolution in life.
Yeah.
The people that were in the city are getting old, they're dying.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand that a lot of them are in the young men that are taking the reins. A lot of these guys are influenced through hip hop, and it's just a different. So it's creating a different landscape, but you also have to know how to maneuver in that space.
Yeah.
So like in another 10 years, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more properties, more apartment buildings, more condos. Yeah. I get lost in Charlotte now. They be like, "Yo, when did they build this?"
Yeah.
And so I think that's gonna keep going, which is good, right? Because at the end of the day, like you say, it's 100,000 plus people moving on a daily basis.
157 people.
Yeah, 157 people on a daily basis, and I think that's good. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Because what's going to happen is with that type of growth at that pace, the powers that be have to conform to what's going on. Like it's no way.
Yeah. That's I have to I haven't had this conversation with a lot of people, but like I'm just like I don't know how that many people can move to Charlotte and it doesn't evolve and even more, and if not anything else, like faster. So I do want to let's talk about the barber school. Can you tell me real quick, like not real quick, but you tell me like what sparked you to open your own barber school?
A couple of things, right? One, having that amount of shops. Well, it's not even that amount. I feel, in my personal opinion, this is Sean Corbett's opinion, I think anything over 4 shops, you need a school.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because after that third going into a 4th shop, you get a cultural issue. You get into that culture. Now you really see the importance of your culture, right? Because after shop number 3, when you get into that 4 and 5 space, they all have to be moving in the same direction. You can have Jelani Cuts 1, 2, and 3. That's cool, and they all be doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But once you get into 4, managing those things become difficult. And so your culture has to be your manager.
Yeah.
That's the first.
Your culture has to be your manager.
Absolutely.
I got that one.
Yeah, if
your culture has to be your manager.
Yeah, because your culture is the foundation that's in every location every day from the time open to close.
Yeah.
Your culture is everywhere all the time.
Yeah. Wow.
And what happens is when you have to just focus on your culture and make it strong to where anybody that's not aligned with the culture, they stick out. And that's how you manage your culture. And
we were at a power mixer, and you were talking to someone about that. They were talking about franchising and or having multiple locations, and that was the first thing that you talked about. You talked about everything, like whatever the location in Charlotte is, or in the number one spot, like all of them have to operate in the same way. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you're in Tokyo. The same feeling, the same service has to be exactly the same. How hard is that to is that just in your SOPs and your standard operating procedures, or like how difficult is that to cultivate, or is it? Well, in the beginning, yes, right? Okay. Because I like to say I've learned how to scale the unscalable business. Okay. Right, and you have to understand in barbering is an art. Yeah. It is a tonsorial arts, right? And when you deal with artists move on feeling. Yeah, everything's feeling. Like I feel like doing this. I feel like coming to work. I feel like not coming to work. I feel like cutting today. I don't feel. It's feeling. So you have to create and derive a culture based on that. They have to be able to dwell in that space, right? So you can't have a heavy corporate culture with a bunch of artists. It won't work. So finding that happy medium can be difficult, right? Because when you're creating this culture and you want policies and rules and procedures, you have to be careful based on guidelines of dealing with independent contractors and things like that. So you got to figure out how to stay in that middle space, right, and then make it to where a artist can continue to grow as an artist. You don't want to take their artistic freedom from them, right? So
that's where the things kind of get a little difficult, right?
You just give them a structure to be able to still be an artist.
Yeah.
But they have to be in structure so that the business can still be successful.
Yeah, because you can't run a business without structure. There's no way you can run a business if everybody's doing what they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even, like, look at McDonald's. If you allowed the person that run fries to decide whether they're going to run fries, I ain't making no fries today, bro. I'm just going to chill out. Like, that's an issue, if that makes any sense. So you got to kind of, structure is very important. And just kind of piecing it together to be able to be palatable for a room full of creatives.
Yeah. So what's the future for you, man? Like, what's the ultimate goal for this empire that you're already building? You know, what's next for you?
Can't stop, won't stop. That's it. Like, plan B is enforcing plan A. Yeah. That's it. Like, it's just, I think I'm at a space now where it's just the growth of it, you know, and watching it grow, and just continuing to reinvent myself within this universe, right? Because there are times where I can be in a space and I'm doing more harm than good, right? You know, because you created, like, I started Leadership Charlotte. Did you know that?
No, you ain't. The streets told me, but you didn't tell me. You know what I mean?
I've been moving. I've been trying to get baby girl to college. I've been moving.
I was like, man, I was looking through the pictures trying to look and expand it. I was like, wait, is Lucky in this class?
No, but this is the thing. Opening weekend, you know, you do a lot of sharing and stuff like that.
I mean, hold up, you signed an NDA, so just be careful.
Well, you conversate, right? Yeah. And one of the things that I realized is that you spend your whole life trying to take care of your family. That's the barbering thing. Yeah. I'm cutting. I'm building this business. Yeah. Right? And then you realize your kids get older. They don't need you anymore as much. Yeah. And then you built a business that don't need you. So just constantly reinventing yourself in that space to be of use, right, is, you know, next for me. Just always continuing to grow and being of use. Because sometimes you can just hold a title and a position and be useless. You know, just being of use. Where do I need to be? Where do I need to be? I need to move from here. Okay, I've done this job. Now I have to put someone else in this position, right? I could hold this position just because of the sake of holding it, but am I really doing the best in this space? Or do I need to be over here in food and beverage? Or do I need to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to move around. So I think that's next for me. And we built a pretty sturdy universe, so I think it's a lot of little things that I can do and move around to, you know, for the next 20, 30 years.
That's what's up. All right, last thing, drop a gem on everybody, man. What's one thing that you would encourage people to do as it relates to being successful in business?
Understanding the power of people and understanding who to empower.
Understanding the power of people and understanding who to empower.
Yeah, because you can have the wrong people around you and empower them, and it's over for you.
For sure.
Or you can have the right people around you and don't empower them, and they end up leaving you. Yeah. But if you have the right people around you and you understand the importance of empowering them, you grow.
Wow. My guy, I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Well, I knew it was going to be great. Shout out to my guy, Shaun, Lucky Corbett, for being with us today. This is another edition of the Power Mixer Podcast. I'm J Hill, CEO of the Brain Script Agency. All right, we'll see you soon. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the button. We appreciate it. All right, talk to you soon.